Okie dokie, let's see if we can get rolling here. Hey Tim, Rick van der Mark, Ernest, Warren Stamps, and an Englishman, of course, in Brazil. See, we're all the usual suspects are here already. Well, at least a few of them are. Alright, get straight to it, because it's late and I'm tired and cranky and I just want to go to bed. Not that I'm going to sleep, but you know, we can dream. Alright, what is this? I don't even know what this is. 1706, I think. Let's see if the microscope switch works. It does, it does, it does. 1708. Whoops. I'm really not sufficiently familiar with these models sometimes. Okay, 1708. It doesn't charge. It gets 20 volts, but it doesn't charge. So I'm kind of curious to see what we're going to get in here. Hopefully it's not a blown piccolo or something like that. I don't think piccolo is involved in that, is it? But we'll see. A lot of these 2017 or 2016 plus type models onwards do seem to still leave me a little bit dazed. I mean, I'll fix them up, but if you say to me, oh well, what's the defining feature on this one or that one, I'm like, yeah. Okay, someone's jimmied this up here before. See how it's lifting there? Yeah, it doesn't seem right. And that always gets you the first couple of times you do it. You sit there and you think, I broke it. Yeah, you probably did. Yeah. Okay. Just gonna pop this one off too. Since my spudges seen better days. Much better days. And once again I have left my proper knife upstairs. Go. Break a leg for an easy fix. Oh, probably not an idea to do that, yeah. Brazilian coffee to wake me up. Stuff can be pretty wild and rich. Okay. There we go. That's what I was after. A mic pick. Stuart Menzies. A3X. I think it was the day before yesterday, wasn't it? I can't remember. Anyway. I did manage to pick out a mattress. But naturally they didn't have stock of the one I wanted. So I've got to wait 3 weeks to get it. So at least my whole time schedule issue didn't end up playing out because it was just completely blown out. Jeez, what's holding this thing down? Normally it should lift up by now. Hey Jacob Anderson, hey Paulie Lewis. Oh, that was just... what has happened in here? We've got another one where that metal plate has gone missing. Remember the other one we did the other night? And that fell off? Seems to be a bit of an issue with the glue there. Either that or the abuse they're copying from hapless techs like me. Alright, so we're pretty much back in our same ballpark that we were the other day. I was replugging in one of the desktops at my school, and as soon as I made contact with the power supply, it sparkled like crazy. Oops, did someone switch it over to the wrong voltage? Rick, I did pretty good at the hardware store restraining myself, but in honesty it was probably just the fact that I was a little broke after doing the mattress. Yeah, just a little broke. And then of course the tyres, yeah, because the tyres was an unexpected. Okay, so we've got an A20840 board. The tyres was an unexpected cost, and a hefty one at that too. If you look close, they lock in place, so you have to slide it back. Yes, they do lock in place, but what I'm saying is that they've been snapped off. Basically people levering them up before they have slid them. What's this? Someone squished the liquid marker in there. I wonder what sort of work this has had done on it. Liquid marker there. Why do I get the feeling we're going to find our fun and games on the other side? Hey, Lars Johnson, Nick469. Gazman's here too. Hey, Gazman. Right, now, we will remember to disconnect the battery on this one. Can't believe I did that the other night. That was truly a terrifying mistake. But we have... Oh, disconnected it now. Oh, where is it? I finally got what I've been waiting for, which is... This is a 40mm... Actually, I'll just do it here. This is a 40mm shaft, pH 00 Phillips tip. And this, for iPhones, is the bee's knees. It works really well. Took me a while to get it. The first one I ordered didn't turn up, and I had to chase the supplier, and they said, we don't know what's happened to it, so we're going to send you another one. And should you end up with two of them, with the second one turning up mysteriously, then consider it our gift to you for being slow at the job. So I'll be very happy if I do get a second one out of that, because they're sweet little screwdrivers. Okay, someone has this screw here is protruding about one thread length up. It's not even sitting down properly. No, it's a bit hard for me to show up, but yeah, that's standing up a bit much there. So I'm kind of curious as to who's been in this. I mean, it's not particularly a long thread, so maybe they just didn't get it down properly. Hey, Mr. Russia. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to call you that because my Cyrillic is just awful and I don't know how to truly pronounce your name. Those screws actually feel like the screws that should have been here for the drive. I think that's what they've done. They've used these are meant to be the chassis, and those are meant to be the drive screws. That's the way it feels to me so far. I'll probably be wrong, but hey, you never know. Let's see, Nick469, I got my first 4066, no backlight, Google diode mode reading. If you got no backlight, just do a voltage reading on the bank just telling me I've got money. Ooh, Vera's replied back to me. Ah, damn it. They're just telling me that they're going to send my request or my query off to some other department. Oh well, I suppose better than nothing. Hey, Southern Wonder. Let's see, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, for the 1466, if you've got no backlight, just check the feedback ball, visually check the feedback ball on the underside of the backlight driver chip, and if you can, while it's running, check the voltage output on the backlight. And then you'll either see that, oh yeah, I also got a pentalobe, one size for iPhones, and that is really good too. So definitely if you're doing this sort of work, get the 40mm shaft lengths. If you get the 60, they're just too long. Yeah, it's fine if you're taking a deep dive into some other chassis somewhere, but for this sort of work where you do a lot of fingertip top control, get the 40mm. I've got links on my repair page now for them, because I figured if I had such a pain getting my hands on them, someone else might appreciate being able to get onto them quicker. Yeah, Travis, if you go to my repair page, pldaniels.com/repair items, you'll see I've already listed them up. At least for the basic ones. Oh, the mongrels! The mongrels! They've left off this screw here, which is to hold down the heat sink, so yeah. And they've left off the screws and the retainer plates for this here, for the screen. Bloody hell! Who does this? Who does such scrappy jobs? Not me this time. I do only mildly scrappy jobs. But really, I mean, basic screw stuff, come on. I know I've got to try and get that out, but because they've ripped the tab off there, I can't really... No, there we go. Yeah, they ripped the tab that you use to pull this flex out, so there's nothing to actually get a hold of. Let me... at least they kept the rubber retainer rings there. And they've taken... Did you guys reflow that? And they have butchered that. Wow, they've made a real mess of this. If you are in repairs and you've got a job and you've got to diagnose it, and you sort of decide, well, look, I can't really fix this, then please, have the courtesy of trying to put things back how they were, so that we don't have a... it's just a pain. Because then we're wondering, so like, well, what other issues are we dealing with here, apart from the original issue that it went in for? Hey Ahmed. Hey Tonstar. Tonstar, sorry, not Tonstar. You found a piece of rice and the battery connector is broken. Oh jeez. This is a 1708, which is, as I was saying before, the same as the one I worked on the other night. It's not the same machine, but it is the same board. What did you mongrels do? Man, I'm going to have to find out who did this. And how do you botch up that plate like that? I mean, I understand the odd scratch from a slip driver here and there. You complete dickwads. Look at that. What sort of force did you use to mongrelize the hell out of this? And you've lost the foam pad. Brilliant. It's like this came from a separate part elsewhere. Fantastic. Well, lo and behold, at least they haven't long screw damaged that. But they have done... What have they done? Is it possible they put it on backwards? It should be that. Oh no, they haven't, thankfully. Yeah, I don't know what they did there to make it, to mongrelize it so much. What's the hardest MacBook fix you've done successfully? It's a good question. I actually don't really have an answer for that. I guess it depends on what you mean by hard, because there can be hard in terms of a very protracted fix, taking a long time, that sort of stuff, or hard as in outright skill, dexterity. But in fairness, I still don't have an answer for either of those. We've got some weird stuff going on around here. What I'm finding troubling is that I don't really have a smoking gun here. Oh wait, what is that? It's like they've ultrasonicked it or something. I think they've ultrasonicked it. Oh, that'll... See how it's got what looks like flame venting type smoke marks, but I think that is residue marks from an ultrasonic where there was corrosion. Because we've got this sort of blue stuff here, that kind of looks like corrosion was there. Interestingly, the connectors do not exhibit any signs of it. Hopefully we do not have to do anything with those. Wi-Fi section looks alright, thankfully. We're talking about the sunglasses. Yeah, they're nice, cheap, industrial, just workers' glasses. I've given up buying Ray-Bans and things like that. I used to when I was younger and had to be cool and all that stuff. But these days, yeah, if I lose a pair, I just go into the hardware store, find a nice, completely full surround type glasses. And they do a great job. They keep the sun off the side of your eyes, which is quite important. Oh, there we go. Someone just crapped the bed there. That's a colossally big one. Yep. I think that might be let's hope that's our fault. Hey, Andrew Hughes, welcome. Hey, Pianov's here. Hello, Pianov. Thank you for joining. Always good to have your supreme intelligence on board for when I stuff up. That says, hi, I'm shorted. I'm sorry. I pooped the bed. That's a terrible analogy to use, Paul. That's terrible. I think I'm feeling a bit gnarly at the moment. Drexel, someone was asking about code. I think it was you. But I code in either C, C++, PHP, and although I don't like to really call it coding, you know, I mean, of course, shell scripts and things like that. But it's almost always some form of C, something like that. I'm not going to use hot air because of the proximity of these connectors. But so I'm just going to do the old blob and knock method. It's not so easy to knock these ones off the board like with the Jesser style. But if you can get the solder to pickle in, and don't make me... This is where I need to keep my 100-watt iron handy. There we go, we're starting to get it now. This is a brilliant way of destroying $30 tips. Brilliant. Get off, get off, get off. What's sad is all this damage that wasn't related to this short was caused by someone looking for the damage. More solder. Hey Nathan, that's great. You come in, say hello, and then start telling me what to do. What are you, foreman? And the short is gone. Excellent. Let's see if we now get something better than 10 milliamps on our input. How can a board handle such high heat but not water? Well, I mean, water throws in undesired side channels of conductivity. Yep, we're booting. 20 volts, 500 milliamps. That's booting. So we fixed it. Well, that's a job I like. But I have the downside of having to now work out what I can do about resolving the issues that they created by leaving off parts and things like that. I suppose it's not a big one. It's just that I don't have a spare chassis for this. It's like if it was a 1466, 1278, 1502, those sort of things, I could just sort of, take parts from my spares. But these, I don't have any of these spare. Now I just need to check to see what that cap is, because I really should put a new one on there. Let's see, 840. Oh, damn it. My shared drive with all the sudo mount share. Can't find what? Sudo mount share. Force. Okay, now we should be good. 840. Hey ZX. Let's see. All in. That's our cap there. 64, 65. 22 microfarad. An 805. Wow. I knew it was big. 25 volt. 22 microfarad. 805. Well, it's not super critical. I mean, it's certainly helping decouple that line, get some medium frequency noise out of it, or improve the medium frequency response rate. But 22 microfarad, that's a little steep. I don't normally keep. I got 10 microfarad, 25 volt. So push come to shove, we can always use two of those. Just stack them on top of each other. One, no. I don't generally have 100 nanofarad. How freaking useless is that? No. I don't generally have 22s much. Saying that, I got a 2263. What are you guys? 100? Nope. 1050. Your 1206s. Probably could fit a 1206 on there without any trouble at all. But again, I don't think I've got 1206, 1025, 10. Let's go overhead. Hey Polly, you finally got a network drive going. That's good. 150, no. 220. I don't think I'll ever use this capacitor. It's a 220 microfarad aluminium electrolyte, and it cost me $8.20. I had to actually mark that on there so I wouldn't be stupid and just randomly use it and go, oh, I'll use that one. Like leave it for a very true fine purpose. No. 560? Nope. Ew, that was one of those cane capacitors. 2U2. 1. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have one of those. Like I said, 22 microfarad is not a common value for me to keep. I usually either have 10, 100, 47s, that sort of level. I'll check on some other boards and see if I can find a suitable replacement. Drexel, I'm looking to buy your Boardview software because Lewis loves it. Well, if you do commercial Boardview board repair, then certainly I'm going to try and push you to buy it. But if you're just doing casual stuff, then Open Boardview more than likely to cover what you need. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. I could probably get away with a 10 or even double stack 10, and as long as I got my 25 volts there. I mean, I've gone over this before about how these things, even though they've got the word critical on them, they're not. They're just, in this particular case, they're not. They're just general decoupling caps. You can get a very wide range on them. But I would like to try and find the one that matches for now. And naturally, every single damn cap on this donor is missing. What a pain. Who the hell did that? Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain before, like when I was doing the electronics engineering and designing boards like this and stuff. Most of the time, you're just throwing decoupling caps on the rails just for the heck of it, because you think, well, yeah, I'm not going to sit there and do the math. I'm just going to throw what I think is going to be a reasonable set of decade values on there and go from that. So yeah, this is the same thing. But again, I'd like to keep it within as close as possible to the original. So we're going to go find a part. And we're looking for 22 microfarad. We'll go 22U, 25 volt, 805. Let's see how we go. Pretty sure Lewis worked on that board. Ooh, shots fired. Okay, yeah, so that's not a normal value to find. We're going to double stack of some 10s then. That'll be fine. So just get my 10 microfarad 25 volts, double stack them. That should do the trick just nicely. Now I've got to find them. No. Unfortunately, they're 1206s. I swear I had some 805s of that value, didn't I? Someone tell me I'm not going insane. Someone tell me I did have 10 microfarad, 25 volt. I've got so many 6 volt 3 ones. If I've got to use the 1206s, fine, I'll use the 1206s. Aha, I did. There we go. It's like playing the game, the card matching game, where you turn over one card and then another. And try to remember where they were. The Aussie Geek, now, are you taunting me there? The thing with Flex Boardview that everybody's got to get sorted out in their minds is that it's not, because it doesn't come with Boardviews, it's a case of if the manufacturers supply, or if someone releases a board view in the format, one of the many formats that Flex Boardview will handle, then it'll read it. It doesn't matter if it's a phone, a computer, or what. So long as the actual... Man, I think I'm going to have to just stick... That might be high enough. We'll stick one down, then we'll see if we can cheat with the second one. Unfortunately, there's no other exposed area that I could scratch back to position the second one. I might be able to upend them. Yeah, I'll upend them like that. I'll do it. What did Pirnov say? Hey, Eric. Fortunately, it's no drama to upend the parts in this particular case because of it just being a general decoupling. Yeah, it's not frequency critical or impedance critical or anything like that. It's very simply, for the most part, just trying to help the DC response, transient response. If you have, however, a very frequency critical section where every millimeter matters, then you may not be able to upend parts, because what will happen is the Damn it. I really don't want to have to hot air this in. I may have to. It's going to be tricky. I need more heat. I'm fearing I'm going to have to hot air it in. Yeah. Soren would approve. So, in a perfect world, it would be recommendable to make boards waterproof, but because yeah, Ben, the trouble is, see, if I put too much down now, I can't get it all. I've got to do one side and the other. I can't do both because I can't get enough heat down on both. Come on, sit, you little bastard. Damn it. I'm trying to get my tip low enough. There we go. Alright. It's a good start. We might be able to hot air this by using some shielding. And see if we can get them to sit down a little prettier, because right now they're uglier than my face. Oh, one thing, if you're going to put a shield over the top of these connectors, put the latch down. The reason being is because otherwise what happens is the latch sits on the underside and it melts. That connector there should actually be okay with this. By the way, most of the reason for not having waterproofing, conformal coating and things like that on these boards is simply because it's just not practical, and then there's thermal implications. Yeah, it's not really a conspiracy thing, it's just not practical. As I think it was Pianov just said there, I mean, planned obsolescence, they can do that in software now. There's no need to do it in hardware. And people who say that like they use the cheapest parts and stuff like that on these boards, I'll tell you what, you go try and find the cost of a lot of these caps, because when you realize how much these caps, particularly the high value, small size, in other words, they've got the highest microfarad / voltage density, you will realize that these boards are expensive if you're populating them with those sort of caps. Because you can go from your jelly bean caps, like your, say, your 603, 1 microfarad, 10 volt. They're going to cost you, you know, a tenth of a cent. That's not a problem. But then all of a sudden, you'll see on a lot of Apple designs, they've got things like 10 microfarad, 6.3, 06, 10 microfarad, 6.3 volts, 06, 03 size, and you go look that up in places like Mouser, Digikey and whatnot, and it is an expensive cap. So when people say to me Apple are junk, cheap designs and all that, I'm sorry, I've got to disagree with you. From an engineering perspective, I look at these boards and I can say a lot of money goes into making these things. They are not cheap parts, not even close to being cheap parts. Which is why I like to get as many of them as I can, because, I mean, you could strip the caps off these boards, the ones I'm talking about, and you'd make a pretty bit of money out of them. And they're easy to repair, these two. I mean, compared to PC boards, these are a breeze. So I know people like to bash Apple, and I mean, we'll get in on that sometimes, but in terms of engineering design, things like that, sure, they make some really shitty overall decisions, like bad keyboard design, things like the butterfly keyboards and all that sort of stuff. And they pick the bad GPUs, they thermally overestimate what the boards can deal with, stuff like that. But the actual PCB, the parts, the placement, the layouts, the routing and all that seems to be of very good quality to me. At least, if I produced work like this, I'd be happy. It's pretty much, I mean, I know it goes against the anti-Apple type establishment, but that's my professional opinion on it as a person who has designed a lot of these boards. Obviously not that sort of level, but I go through the part lists and try to get minimum bill of materials and things like that, and yeah, they're expensive. Travis, AliExpress for donor boards, pretty much the only way nowadays. How can PC board be tougher to repair than Apple board? Usually lack of information, and funnily enough, the quality of the layers, the copper, the laminations can be worse. So you try to work on it, and then things start delaminating earlier. I think, on a slightly different topic, but same sort of thing really, like the 6 plus touch disease followed by the 7 audio disease and things like that. My personal belief is that it's not really actually from macro flexing, as in really big bending or anything like that. What I think they're really suffering from is that the alloy of copper that they're using for their top layer, the thermal expansion coefficient is too different to that of the rest of the board in that region. And so what's happening is you're getting thermal expansion, and it's the design of the pads that they're using just focuses it around the neck of the BGA balls and whatnot, and it just eventually just cracks it apart. So really what Apple needs here is they need to come up with a better PC substrate, something that's going to have a better copper alloy for those traces, something that can handle the something that's either closer to the circuit board's thermal expansion coefficient, or something that can have deal with that stretching a bit more, something with a bit more ductility. Sad to say, it took me 5 minutes to find a backlight fuse. Oh, that's okay, that's pretty good. I mean, no one assumes that to be the fuse up first. Does Apple do teardrops on? They do, yes. I think maybe they neck them down a little bit too thin, but again, I'm sure the software that they use to lay out these boards has a squillion parameters, automated parameters that just it goes through and it sort of says, well, this is a signal trace and it's carrying at the most this much current, and we need to have this much clearance from the other traces because it's carrying this frequency of signal, and we've got to maintain this level of impedance so that we don't go out of bounds for that, and so we don't round off our clock signals too much. So there's that huge mix of parameters in there, and I'd say, I don't know, I gotta admit I don't know, probably 80% is automatically routed and parameters set, and the rest is done by hand perhaps. Yeah, the donor boards, just go to AliExpress. Yeah, this one's not even going to need to be ultrasonic. Thank goodness. I would not put this in an ultrasonic over that. I'm just going to wash that off. How many people do you think are involved in designing a board for a new MacBook Pro? Good question. Really not sure. There's probably about 6 people in a core team, and then you've probably got about 600 fanning out from that. What will probably tend to happen... See, it depends whether they're talking about a design iteration, like a new iteration of an existing one, in which case obviously your team's going to be quite a bit smaller and there's going to be a lot more cut pasting and just rearranging, as opposed to a completely new take on things, which obviously the 17 series onwards has been. Yeah, I really wouldn't know. It depends on how much they farm out. Like I said, certainly there's a lot of cut pasting going on. I mean, it's just practical to do that. There's nothing wrong about that. So you got to do it at some point. You can't go there's no point redesigning so many things every time, which is why all from like the 1278s on to the 1502s and all that, why it's so much fun to work on those is because they're all essentially just the same blocks, just stuck together, some with a few extra features. Makes it dead easy to repair these things, which is again why I prefer working on Macs, whereas with PCs, yes, PCs are inherently all genetically pretty much the same. You go through any PC schematic and they pretty much all are the same thing, they're just laid out differently according to the board shapes they want. But the thing is, they use different parts quite often and they spread the parts out all over the place. Like instead of having all the module in one area on a board, they just sort of scatter it around. It's inconsistent. I suppose we should check to see if we've got a short there or not. Why don't you add an option for critical components on the programs? I think it'd be just too much work and for no real great gain. Okay, that's good. That's not shorted. There's a lot of features you can add into software, and unfortunately they're just not worth adding in. For every feature you add, you of course naturally bringing in the risk of bugs. And some features, even though they might be helping one person a lot, you have to also think about how much risk of bugs does it bring in for everybody else that's using the software. And of course, the biggest factor of all, really, when it comes to software features is how lazy is the programmer? Is the programmer even going to be motivated to do this? And if you're talking about me, it's probably going to be a big fat no. Which is where open source is really good. And that's kind of how Open Boardview went from the original release that Chlorodite put out for us all, and then got hijacked by a crazy Australian who went along and rudely pushed and shoved everybody else out of the way as he dominated things in an attempt to jump onto Lewis Rossman's coattails. Oops, I think I just let out my big secret about what all this is for. And I even used my kitty cat as part of the whole plan. If it wasn't for Micro, I probably would not have succeeded in capturing Lewis's attention. Okay, I'll go take this out because I forgot to put the screen flex back on. Hey Yankov, I don't think PCs are worth to fix on a component level, but it depends on the cost anyway. And exactly, I don't get too many PCs coming in where people really want to fix them. There's also a few things such as just gonna make sure I get this the right way around. That'll be a real dick move to. Damn it! I'm ruining my monetization by swearing. I gotta work out why they mangled this up. Took the foam off it too. I don't even know how they did that. Well, let's face it, if it wasn't for Apple, we'd probably be in some random forum like EE-blog or something, all fighting with each other over whether the latest Tektronix sampler is worth it or not, or whether we should all go back to the old days and we should be thankful for this or thankful for that, or let's go back to valves. God, no. Apple's existence gives us reason to live as technicians. And so we should do our best to ensure that all our friends and family go out and buy apples, so that when they do inevitably spill something, or drop it, or do something wrong, we've got a job. Hey David Legault, good to see you. See Milo, how many percent of the MacBooks you get in for repair do you manage to repair compared to those that are unrepairable, and what do you do in that case? I would say about 90% get repaired, compared to maybe 20% of PC laptops. And for the ones that don't get repaired, I usually do offer the person a buyback. Like I'll say to them, well, okay, it's dead, but it does have value to me, so I'm willing to give you some money on top of, I gotta put a piece of foam under that. That's a joke. Let's see, I wonder if iPhone, no, it's no good. Hey Racken X channel, Racken X, welcome. Thank you for dropping in. Sorry you missed out on probably the initial fun part. We might have some more just now. This stuff is just too thick, I think. I'll have a shot at trying some of this millimeter thick foam. So it's very frustrating that they did this, but we've got to work around it and see what we can do. Here's my clippy clips. Yeah, you guys can't really see much of what's going on here. So let me just shuffle up. There we go. What's the distance do I want? I keep myself a big bag of double-sided adhesives there. Used a lot more than I would expect. Ed will be attempting to change soldered 32GB SSD chip for 120GB chip. Ooh, no, I've got no suggestions on that one. Nope. Are you talking about an iPhone replacement or something, or what? I just realised this is a double-sided tape, but it maybe not be such a problem. Until the next technician comes along and they curse at me for the fact that I put double-sided tape down. I'd hate to be that guy. He's probably going to turn out to be me. Firephone. No, that was actually my new iPhone 7 Plus. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I was only using that for maybe an hour prior to just heading into town, and I wasn't sure what the audio was going to be like or anything. I'm quite impressed. I mean, it would be nice if it could have been, if you could have simultaneous front view and back, face view at the same time in the recording. I believe the new iPhone 11s and whatnot can do that. I believe. Do not quote me as being a fact on that. But overall, I was pretty happy with it. The quality seems good. The audio wasn't too bad, considering that I was, driving at 110 k's an hour, and it was resting against, or close to against, the window. It was mounted on just a suction cup mount. So yeah, overall pretty happy with that. Could have been a hell of a lot worse. I did do one for the way back as well, but I went the whole time and it really wasn't that interesting. I'll save it for the special release days, like secret unreleased footage. Okay, I'm just going to check that I've got all my cables. I'm disappointed that they lost that one. And I just realised I don't even have the covers for there or there, or would have been nice to have them. I wonder if I can get them somewhere. Yeah, this is the iPhone 7. It was one that a customer, it was broken, it's got a long screw damage in it. And I recovered the data for the person. And they upgraded to an 11 anyway, because I said to them, well, I personally don't feel comfortable with... Is that going to cause issues? That fold feels a little bit excessive. Yeah, this is why I want the bars that go across here, because otherwise that's going to pop right off really quickly. Damn it. I might have to chase up, see if anyone in Australia has got one of these that I can use for spare parts, because I really do not feel comfortable with that. So you blocked the dashboard with it? No, Farphone, it was sitting on the right hand side above the dashboard, sort of in that little corner down between your door, the very edge of the windscreen and the top of the dash. So nothing was obstructed. That was the nice thing. It just sits perfectly in place. No obstructions at all. So it's perfectly legal too. Yeah. I've got to work out these screws as well, because they've mixed them up. I'm almost definitely sure that these little thin top ones are actually meant to be for circuit board screws. I could be wrong, but I could have sworn the other one was this way. The threading seems to be disagreeing with me though. So if the threads disagree with you, just force them harder. Obviously I'm joking. Jeez. Oh yeah, Tim's video, yeah, the blown PCH. Absolutely no fun in that. I've had a few of those. They really suck the life out of your day. Why does that not sit properly? So normally, see how it's not sitting flush? Whereas normally it should. You should be able to, yeah, okay, it's better now. It's been bent, that's all. Yep. Alright. So TX5. TX3. Somehow it seems I've lost my TX5. There it is. The pillar, yeah, it sort of rests against the pillar. Thank you. Thank you for getting the right word for me. But yeah, it doesn't obstruct your view or anything like that, so it's all good. It's all perfectly legal and above board. They were trying hard to get those screws out. They really mashed them up. I still don't feel that that's the right one. No, guess it is. Just feels wrong for some reason. When your instincts are telling you something's wrong, I do usually like to listen to them. No, it's, well, yeah, maybe it's on screw, but it just sort of sits prouder than what I would expect for those circuit board screws. And these definitely are not the right screws for that. But nothing seems to just match. It's like I'm a moron. See, I'm only getting half a turn, and these should be at least 2 or 3 turns. And that's too thin. It's like I'm in an alternate reality right now with this board. It's kind of like when someone uses a 1466 set of screws on a 1398 or something. It just feels weird. Can you measure CPU V-core on that? Let's see. Probably not right now. I'll power it up though. No reason to think it did power up before. Firephone, that is quite correct, yes. Australian banknotes are a sort of an exotic polymer. They're quite nice. You can launder them quite well too. We used to have paper banknotes or something similar to paper, and that was an absolute flippin' disaster. Like every time you forget to empty your pockets out going for the wash, you could lose all your money. It was no fun at all. No, I lost probably about $50 one day when I did that. I don't think they were directly perishable. Shoot, I just hadn't finished plugging everything in yet. I don't recall them being directly perishable, like say toilet paper or anything like that. But I do recall once they did get wet, and while they were wet, if they were physically pushed around a bit much, they will tend to just sort of no longer become lose their legal tender status, so to speak. Okay, that's good. That's an awkward way they've done these connectors. No, I just tore that one. Great. Not the flex, I just tore the pull cable thing. Yes, I actually heard that a few other countries have picked up the same polymer and done similar things. I guess Australia is not a bad place to trial that sort of stuff, because we don't have that many people here. So it isn't a massive expense to change out the notes or currency or anything like that, because it's not like you're going to lose millions of dollars or billions of dollars on the reprints. Okay. I have a working 7007 which I cannot measure stable voltage. Oh, okay. Damn it. Fantastic. People sticking stuff in there that they shouldn't have. Alright, let's see if we get a boot here. It always takes quite a while after the battery's been disconnected. 20 volts, 1 amp, 1.5, 2, 2.5. We're getting to the boot up point soon. 3. You gonna boot soon or you're dead? It's weird, it was charging. It's just not coming to life. Or have we got a situation where maybe that screen connector's popped out? I just use Ubuntu. Sorry, it's not very fancy or anything like that, but that's just what I use, Ubuntu. The main reason is that you just... let me get this sorted out first. It's got such a strong support behind it that if you run into issues, then it's a good chance someone's going to be able to solve it for you. Whereas if you go with some other more obscure distribution, then your chances are significantly reduced. I got a fan spin and everything. Seems like the display's been botched. I normally backlight bleed through. But given what we saw on that connector, the way that it was messed with, it wouldn't entirely surprise me if they did something to the screen. I'm drawing an amp, it should technically be running. Alright. What we'll do is we'll do what we did the other night. We'll disconnect the screen. We'll plug in the HDMI and see how we go. And just as I say that, Travis Stamper speaks up and says exactly the same thing. Here we go. I should just get a HDMI switcher. Damn it, kind of made that a bit tricky. Come on, up you come. I think I just saw something on screen. Unless what I saw was just the screen saying there's no signal. Hey Andrew, old guy from Scotland. What is this thing doing? If you asked me, I would have said this thing's booting, but I'm definitely not getting any screen output. I'm drawing 650, 670 milliamp and it's changing up and down. It's not just like a short or anything. So I'm a little bit perplexed. Actually, it's not true. I'm very perplexed. CPU's warm, not hot. It's just, yeah, it's what you consider a normal sort of warm. I wonder if the keyboard's been damaged on this one. Maybe it's been held in a reset state or something, but that doesn't make sense either. Dragon, is this what yours is doing? I'm just going to do the old disconnect everything trick. Yeah, we'll have a look at vCore. I know that really didn't have anything much to do, but yeah, we're just going for everything here. Start from scratch and work our way up. Daniel Bassa, by the way, name's Paul, but you know, I understand. Okay. Coming back to 1920. So by all means, it looks like it's firing up normally. It's definitely not producing anything on output. Alright, so what's one of our CPU voltages? Alright, let's see how your bet goes. Better switch to voltage. Find myself a ground spot. It's a little awkward at this angle, so forgive me. I got no CPU. What? No CPU on phase 1 phase? None on the other phase? Why is my CPU even getting hot then? Am I measuring the right thing? Dragon, what specific pad or something you want me to measure? Damn it, okay, if it's the coils down the bottom near the display connector, I got 0.93, 948, yeah. But it's interesting that I've got nothing on the ones up the side between the drive and the CPU, the triple one there. 0, 0, 0. Bugger. Could it be a lid sensor? Could be. Great. So we've got a CPU that seems to be alive, but isn't being told to come up or anything. Let's see. Oh, damn it. Cable's always too short. Hey Martin Lewis, thank you. And there's Flex Boardview on the wrong window. Go flipping things back now that I've got my screen back. 840. Alright, on CPU VR and CPU SO, I was getting about the 0.93, 0.94. Okay, thanks Powernoff. I wasn't able to see what they were because I didn't have my Flex Boardview up. But yeah, so I'll bring up the combo. Okay, so I was getting 0.00 on these, and down here I was getting 0.95, 0.94, something like that on those two. Sync? Oh, you're shooting me away. What? Synchronize? Okay, let's try the exit and come back. Hopefully that's better. No. Let me show you all in. 0.9 was on L7210 and L7220. Was it powering on before? It was getting 20 volts before, but it wasn't drawing any current at all because we had a shorted cap. We had this one here, 6465 shorted, which was on our PP bus G3 hot. And now we've got nothing. It was not displaying anything before, obviously, being a short. Let's see what we're getting on our PP bus. This is going to be really annoying if after that nice little find we find that we don't have anything good. To be fair, given the rather catastrophic... So we've got 13 volts on PP bus. Double or nothing, you have all the PM sleep signals. Do you get charge chime? Nope, don't. At least not that I can hear, and because there's always a possibility that they've got the volume turned down. But more to the fun fact is that I wouldn't be able to hear it anyway most times. Okay, crunchy. Yeah, that was 13 volts without battery. We'll try it with the battery in a second. Well, we tried with the keyboard disconnected and that unfortunately made no difference. Ahmed, we already did check the CPU rails. Just scroll back a little bit. The thing that got me is it was drawing a good 500 to 700 milliamp without the battery, so it was doing something. and it was varying, so it wasn't just a static short load. The CPU's warming up again. Where's our sleep lines? Dragon, which one specifically are you looking for, or all of them? Pin 2, Q9902. Q9902. Pin 2, top middle. Rescue. I have not had a chance to get anything done, to be honest. So everything's sitting there, and I really want to get to them, but I just don't get around to them. Okay, so what are we after? Wait, I'm after Q9902. How did I just lose that? Yeah, pound off. I'll try that if I don't have any luck here. Okay, I'm in the right area right there. Okay. Pin 2. That's you. 3.4. So reset. SMC's alive. Well, according to that. You can't even see any backlight, glow, or anything. Well, it's probably not so easy on those ones. No cap locks light. Nothing there. See if holding down the power button changes the current draw at all after about 30 seconds or whatever. So we're at 2.3 at the moment, and now we're down at 1.8. So it is responding to the power button. Press the power, and I press the power button and it jumps back up to... Oh, I did it momentarily. Yeah. Yeah, press the power button and it comes up again. No damage to the USB ports. So what's this? We're saying maybe the SSD. That's worth a shot, why not? The downside, of course, is that you've got to take pretty much the whole board out. Got a cough. Sorry. Not sure if removing the speaker actually gets me the access that I want to get that out. Guess we can try. Can you have a torn ID down the... I'll have a look at the SO backlight just a bit. These magnetically held beasts. Okay. So here we go now. The thing is, even if it was the SO backlight, we should have got something on external. And we didn't get anything on external. It wouldn't even get a signal, nothing. The screen was just saying no signal, no signal, no signal. So right now we're drawing half an amp at 20 volts. And that's with the battery disconnected, obviously. I do wish I had a spare chassis for these things. Turning it off, and it's dropped back down to 80 milliamp. Turn it back on, and it. Yep, back up to half an amp. Can we check the backlight voltage? Yeah, we can. As soon as I can find it. So I'm not used to these boards, so I don't know where all my bits and pieces are. BKL. Let's see. U8400, I guess. U8400 and LCD backlight. Just looking at the various options I've got. Looks like we've got 2 capacitors. Yep, I can see them. Alright, let me just check this backlight voltage first. It gets tricky with these sort of crowdsourced help situations. Everybody wants everything in different times. Zero on backlight. Okay. CPU power okay. Try that. CPU PWR. Okay, maybe CPU power good. Could be clock chip. Actually, yeah, it's a good point. Thank you for thinking of that. CPU power good is right on the flippin' CPU. It's on the other side of the board. I don't want that. Bedbug, thank you. Clock chip, clock chip, clock chip. Hey, Steve Abram. Well, we hope the screen might be working, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have a test board. I think that's the most frustrating thing about doing this sort of work, is when you do not have a test chassis for these things. I mean, it'd be nice to have the kind of money to sort of go, well, let me just go and buy a whole bunch of these machines as they come out, and then I have my... let's see. Yeah, the power good test point is on the other side of the CPU, and other than under the CPU itself, I don't have any other point. Unless you want to give me another point, but I can only find the one under the CPU and then on the back. Let's see, clock chip, RTC. The lack of familiarity is hurting me here. Okay, everything I've got is coming out of the actual chip itself. Okay, what's U7800? Ew, it's yuck. Alright, so we're saying that we wouldn't be able to turn it on without the clock. I suppose you make a fair point there, the fact that the button wouldn't respond because there would be nothing interpreting it. Tom George, I don't know if these screens really do work like that, these ones. And certainly I haven't been able to see any kind of a shadow on there at all either. Normally it comes up from all the lights around here and you can see a reflection. EDP backlight enable. Let's have a look at that. EDP, BK. Well, at least I can test that on the board here. That's nice. Just outside of U8400. Ah, cracky. I might just shuffle this down so that I can hang it off the edge. Obviously you guys are not going to be able to see what I'm doing here. Oh wait, actually you might. If my does my scope make it? Yep. Okay. We've got 0 for that. Yep. 0 volts for enable. Yeah, Paul, when I tested this outside, I thought, well, it's alive. It was doing, the current drawer itself was actually what was telling me, at least in my opinion, that it was alive and CPU was doing something. But seems we've got something a little more complicated going on here. Maybe. Okay, we've got platform reset L. Is this the other trouble with this sort of work? So once you start getting people to make suggestions, you actually disconnect your own brain. PLT, RSTL, okay. And that's actually not too far away from where we just measured. Okay, it's between Q9908 and J3099. Which is just up here. And it's that Z crossed section. We've got 3.3, so platform reset. Tom George, yes, I did check that first. That was one of the first things I checked, and it's no longer there. Bedbug, do you know what the actual chip part number was? Save me having to load it up and look for myself, because I'm a please bro right now. Let's take the board out. We'll stick a drive on it and see what happens. Yeah. I would have thought by now, the amount of time that we just had that resting, that if it was something else, a drive issue, it probably would have come up flashing folder, but anyway. And then it looks like, given the time, I'm going to have to retire after this one for the night. So I do worry about the fact that we're missing all the stuff here too. I mean, it doesn't really, given that our external display isn't even working, then that kind of nullifies that. But it's just a case of, we don't know what else has happened to this. We don't know what the original situation was. We do have those strange burn-like, corrosion-like marks on the board. That was probably another story to tell that we don't know about. I mean, I understand it does happen at times when you're diagnosing a board. You sometimes just decide, oh heck, stuff it all. I'm just going to flush the corrosion away. Maybe it's one of those boards where that's all it needs, and then it doesn't fix it, and then if it goes off to someone else, they're like, bro, you took all my hints away. But it's not always done because it was a dumb thing to do. It's just done because, well, that's the next thing in the list of items to try. Hey, Jacko Scar. Or is that Jaco Scar? There'll be no activity on USB. Well, what we'll do is we're just going to do it for the sake of doing it. And then at least it'll be out of people's hair. There won't be any of the, you should try it, you should try it. It'll be done. It'll be done as soon as Paul finds his damn drive. Every single goddamn time. Where did you go, little board? Yeah. Well, I suppose it has to happen every time at least once every night that I do a repair. The great quest to find where something is that I probably shouldn't have moved. Oh, come on. I had my ASD drives here like this morning. And yes, it's probably going to be a dead end. Oh, screw it. I'm just going to use a generic Ubuntu disk or something. The lights will be prettier anyway. Okay, so we've got 20 volts. Let's see if anyone sees any activity. You guys will actually see the activity more than I will. Hey, Jared Jakowitz. Giffany, these ones are actually pretty big compared to what we're getting now. As much as people hate them, I do actually like the 1932 boards. Yeah, I know, people hate them, but yeah. So we got anyone seen any blue flashing? Clearly not. UO500. What? Oh, UO500. That's the CPU. I'm just going through comments. Sorry, folks. Yeah, no one's seeing any CPU activity there. But we are drawing 650 milliamp, and CPU is warm, so it's doing something. No flipping idea what. So at this point I would say let's have another look over the board. See if there's some other physical damage that we've missed. Maybe have a attempt to correlate those corrosion marks or whatever they are and see if they mean anything. So U1900 you're talking about. Man, I need to get a better keyboard set up here. Oh man, that's a weird chip. Let's see, you meaning like in terms of a scope or something like that? In which case the answer is no. I'm thinking of getting one. Interesting that that's... Oh no, that's correct. I thought that was a 0 and I thought there was something obstructing part of the 0, but it wasn't. It's a 7. That's funny. That's a cap from another night. Another night, another story. Just saw a review on a multimedia wonder if it would be any good to use in this situation. Ah, you mean like the one that Tim has? Those things, yeah, I personally would prefer to have separate thermal imager and scope. That's just me. I generally don't like to have multi-device combos. I find often what will happen is one of the devices in the combo will die, or you'll outgrow it or something like that, and so you end up with this redundant part or non-functional part, and it effectively just takes out the whole unit. Oh, pardon me, big scratchy nose then. So I really do prefer to have devices that are single purpose. This here is what I'm talking about. This looks like USB stuff. This sort of vent out. Don't like the cap next to the connector. Ahmed, which one are you talking about? I mean, geez, there's no shortage of caps on these things. L2950, what do you do? VR 0.9 volts, blah blah blah, Thunderbolt, okay. If you're going to play along, I really do need part numbers, names, because there's a good 30-second delay between where I am and when I see your messages. I don't know why it takes that long, but unfortunately it is the nature of these YouTube live streams, I'm afraid, so you'll have to forgive me. It's just, otherwise it's just impossible. I suppose what we should do is maybe go through the rails and see which rails we've got that are missing. I am starting to get a bit late at night, and so I might have to actually defer this until tomorrow. Hey, Richard Pearson, half a bottle of whiskey. Oh boy. Cats are good. Cats are good. Consider if the ribbon cable is stuffed up or maybe causing a fault. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't physically see anything really wrong anywhere in there, but it's not to say there isn't something wrong. I'm almost tempted to take... Oh, there was the air conditioner. Jeez, scared the daylights out of me. I'm almost tempted to take the CPU heatsink off and see if anything got in under there. It wouldn't be the first time. I found on the 1932s they're actually quite prone for that. You take off the heatsink and you're talking about this cap here, I'm guessing. The pitted one. C6445, that's also on PV Bus G3 Hot. UA500. UA500 is a CPU. What are we talking about that for? Or are you saying that's what's faulty? You have to understand, it's very hard to follow a multi-post sequence in chat. I mean, yeah, the chat here is not that fast, but I tend to disconnect. Like once I read your statement and I go and check something, I tend to disconnect and everything gets reset by the time I come back. But yeah, that cap's on PV Bus G3 Hot. It just looks a little pitted, so it's basically it's on the same as that. That rail's reading fine. I agree. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, yeah, you look a bit sus, but further inspection, it seemed okay. So I'm somewhat inclined. Okay, someone was mentioning, I can feel someone urging me to go back to the BIOS area over here. I think it's BIOS area. U6100. It looks like a BIOS area to me. U6100 it is. SPI ROM. Let's pop the CPU and have a look. Who knows, maybe we've been chasing a PCH and we can join the ranks of Tim. I really don't want to join the ranks of Tim. If this turns out to be a busted PCH, which I don't really think it would be, but if it does, then I'm placing all the blame on Tim. Does BIOS get 3.3? We'll find out after I have checked the CPU. Yeah, we'll blame Tim if it's a dead PCH, because he's the one that started all this. Just under where the pitted cap was, you move the board down. Rescue, yes, you actually saw correctly. They are indeed joined together, and this has been removed. This has been removed. I know it's been removed because it just fell clean off. There was no twist. There was nothing. It just dropped clean off. Someone's been dicking around with this. Somebody's been here before me and they did something that I can't yet see. Guess someone else has just been looking around. PCHs don't seem particularly upset. Yeah, they just slapped it back on, probably said, it's dead, wrapped in plastic. And yeah, fair enough, I get it. So this has really come back in as a second opinion job. I suppose the questions now building on the mind are, what caused that cap to die, the one that we replaced on G3 Hot? Was it itself it just died, or did something cause a knock-on sequence? I don't like what I'm seeing here. There's parts under there and something's gotten under it. It feels like flux or something. Yes. Yes. Someone has done the dirty. That, or they peeled that off and were having inspect as well. I'm not sure what the green stuff is. It almost looks like they resoldered that. Has it been reflowed? I don't know. Because if it had been reflowed, then wouldn't all this have come up? Or well, there's certainly something under there. It does look like there's fluxy residue. but it doesn't look like a lot. So, alright. Here's a theory. What's happened is this machine turned up at the other tech. It wouldn't turn on or anything like that. So they may have thought what we'll do is we'll stick a little bit of flux under there and reflow that, and they didn't have any success. But in doing the reflow, they screwed up the CPU, and so when we did find the fault, it was too late. So that's my theory at this point. So now I'm going to have to go and get some history on this machine. If they did reflow, but the thing is that's original paste by the looks of it. I mean, why would they reflow it with paste, with thermal paste on top? I don't know. It almost feels maybe they just wanted to have a look at this section here. Maybe there was something going on down here that we don't know about. This is where history is really nice. But certainly this goo, that is not standard. Anyway, so that's my theory for now as to what's happened. I don't know. What do you guys think? There was no picture on HDMI, no. I thought it was, but actually what it was just the screen saying no signal. Dragon, that was a different board altogether. That machine's already gone back to the person. This is an entirely new machine for tonight. We fixed that other one. But yeah, I'd say what's happened here is we found the real fault, but too late. It's too late to save it now. It's been reflowed and now it's dead. I said it's too late. Yep, it's too late. Damn it! If that's what they've done, I'm really mad because that's that's $300 for me. Gone. Poof. Poof. All useless now. And all it was that G3 hot cap. Goddamn people. Yeah, Bumbos. So I don't know. That's the thing. It's like if it is a reflow, it's a very gentle one. And I really don't know what the green is. Why I've got a green color tone here on the goo. Richard Pearson, at this point, no, I wouldn't bother doing a reflow myself. I would rather it stay in its near pristine condition. Yeah, where's that green color coming from? That's what I want to know. So what is that? Was that someone's flux? It's definitely on this side too. Let's see if we can have a look at edge on at the balls. It's hard to say, but I would almost say on some of those balls, it looks very hard to say, there is some level of sideways shear going on. But I wouldn't like to say absolutely. Ah, can't see under there anyway. But I suppose the thing that's concerning is that this here was already peeled back like that. So at some point someone has applied some heat there to get that to lift up. Oh, we've got an L here, have we? Where's an L? Show yourself an L. Hey, Stockholms. Hey, TCRS. Rescue, I would have thought that too. In fact, I would have thought the whole lot would have been a wreck. And there's really not a huge amount of flux. Maybe they didn't even use flux. Is there a fingerprint? Maybe we can... Ooh, there's a partial fingerprint there. We can get whoever did it. Just get CSI to zoom and enhance. Yeah, someone's smeared their fingerprint here. And there. I'm guessing they were... Now here we got this liquid again, whatever it is. It's solidified a bit more here. But it looks like what they've done is they've tried to grab the heatsink and lift it up, and their fingers have slipped in under the assembly. So I don't know what they've done. I don't know, there's not enough story here. Hey, Lethal One, right, you are here. Haha. Thank you, D. Elms. I'll try and have a good evening at least. Man, and Anel and Tim, all the fault was just this cap here had split, shorted out. We replaced it and we got everything back up and running, except it wouldn't boot. The CPU gets warm, draws around about 600 to 800 milliamps, and then just does, hey, those two resistors are buggered, physically damaged. They have been, that's broken, that resistor is broken, and someone's slipped there. Buggered, they're broken. You watch, if I put a soldering on that, half of it's going to come off. Come on, break film. There we go. Half just came off. Knew it. Son of a bitch. Someone's been dumb with this. Okay, what part is that? All in. Okay, these are times when I do wish I had... Okay, it's you. What are you? LPCAD. I don't know what LPC is. And what about your friend? LPC frame. Okay, so what's LPCAD? This broken one. R1322. 33 ohm. 201. PCH and SMC. Well, that could about do it. I'm so glad I didn't just go and reflow the CPU myself. You foolish people telling me to reflow the CPU. You could have killed it. It'll be all on your heads. So we've got the same here. I'm not expecting the same on this particular board, but you never know. Oh yeah, yeah, this one's actually the same. Because this is a different board. But again, this is what I was talking about earlier, where they just cut and paste. Now we're going to make Dragon have a good freak out sweat as I use the wrong end of the tweezers. Honestly, I would not have spotted that if I wasn't just randomly scratching away at things. I thought it was a speck of black foam. I would not have seen that as a break. I genuinely thought that was just a speck of black foam, and I was just doing the... Oh, god damn, that's hot. I was just doing a random sort of subconscious... yeah, twiddling around with things. Richard Pearson, I agree, that is a concern too. Although we're not exactly sure if that is flux. It's something, but we don't know what it is. I see Ahmed's still betting on it being the CPU. You're a cruel man, Ahmed. A cruel man. I suppose we could test this without doing up the CPU, but honestly, I would prefer to prepare the CPU first, because that is entirely dependent on me finding my paste. Here we go again. Ah, there it is. Zero effect, I'll first just see if this comes good, and then I'll go back and inspect. Okay, it's way too much paste, but it will squish out, sort of, maybe, we hope, perhaps. This, of course, is highly unnecessary. If you've lived through the days of the 1 gigahertz athlons, you know this sort of behavior can't be helped. This is like post-traumatic stress syndrome from the years of 1 gigahertz athlons. Back then, when that was one of Intel's biggest marketing points. So our CPUs don't commit suicide just because you forgot the heatsink. Not like they had much else to go on. The P4 architecture wasn't really helping them. TCRS, like I said, PTS, whatever. I know on a lot of the other ones, like your 165s, 3437s, all that sort of stuff, you're right, yeah, the PCH won't even touch the heatsink. But in these ones, it seems flush. So since it's flush, I'll make it have the contact. Yeah, that's right, Rescue. Yep, even slightly wrong installation and it was gone. Yeah. It was a very painful and expensive time to be stuffing around with things and doing it wrong. And of course, like I said, the P4 architecture didn't really help. It was like, what do I pick? Something that's useless or something that's gonna die if I look at it wrong? Obviously, I'm not going to plug everything in. So, some things I'll plug in just simply to secure the board, stop it flapping around. I guess that really is probably enough. Yeah. Still going to use my external connector setup here, and I'm going to see if I can hold down that option key. Maybe we can get something come up quickly. Option. We got 20 volts again, so that's a good start. $750, 800. Come on, come good for us. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, man, haven't made noises like that in a while. Ah, right. I'll be in my bunk. Where's that drive? Ah, can you believe it? Can you believe it? That stupid little resistor. Okay, should I get cocky? Yeah, let's get cocky. Yeah, I wouldn't call it eagle eyes, more a case of, well, like I said, more a case of just looking around, see what else I could find, see if there was any other physical damage that I missed, and there was. But it was very much a fluke. Okay, now I'm gonna have to protect this person's integrity, so we've got to put the discrete sheet over the screen. Yeah, that's what we can call it now, discrete sheet. I'm trying to think of a good term for it, and I think I'll stick with that one now. We're asked in class, I'm afraid so it was, Tom. But then again, isn't that 90% of this? It's like when I used to play pool, and honestly, you pull off the shots. Yep, there we go. We're alive and well. Fantastic. Haha. Now, the only thing I can see that's trouble is I'm not getting a charge symbol on that. But I am getting charge current. I'm just going to the guest account. Steve K discrete sheet. Yeah, I'm just doing the login with the guest user now, Pianov. I don't have this person's actual account password. Yeah, as I was saying about with playing pool, uh, yeah, at the start you're pretty shoddy at it, and it takes you 10 shots to get the ball in and stuff like that. And you get better at it. You get better at your straight shots and whatnot. And then I noticed that you started to be able to just pull off the really dodgy, unbelievable, shouldn't normally do that type shots. Stuff that, you know, you couldn't really directly consciously choose to make the shot and get it right. You would start to pull those shots off, and it was 90% of the time it was arse, but it was also, I think, because you just start to get the accumulation of all the other background skills or foundation skills that you can start to do that sort of thing. Alright. And yes, you're right, Penov, we do have the charge symbol, and we just knocked up 1%, so it's excellent. You just saw video distortion. Tim, that could be because of the cable. They butchered the cable. What sort of distortion was it, Tim? Unfortunately, our Wi-Fi... Well, we might get it even though it's not connected. I've got no keyboard. I've got no keyboard. Oh, is that one of the flexes I didn't connect? That might be it. My bad, I thought it was everything came through the one trackpad flex like it does on the 1466s, etc. Thank you, Ed. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, I'd run Unigene value as well, yes. Red over the Apple logo. That's not good. Still, at least we know what... Yeah, even if this still ends up being a failure, we know sort of kind of what happened. Now, there may still be a broken resistor in that path, so yeah, we'll just disconnect this and shut down. Because whatever it was, it looks like it was some sort of metal implement spudger that crashed across the surface. Okay, we're getting a power off response here. Tim could well be right. No, we've still got trackpad. Oh, of course there's no keyboard. Duh. I'm more happy the fact that we solved what seemed like a very strange problem. Yeah, keyboard not connected. The trouble, Richard Pearson, is that more often than not, it's the other way around. More often than not, you spend far too much time on a machine that you really probably should have dumped hours ago. But I guess this is why I do, on the other hand, prefer to have, if you have multiple techs, then you can hand it off to another tech and sort of go, you know, I've tried this, but I've had no luck. How about you have a look? And then their alternate look around can often spot the new things that you've already become blind to. Okay, that's good. Okay, Yes TV, thank you for sticking around for the win. Yeah, the other... Okay, just checking my battery is actually disconnected. Yeah, the other damaged part was just there. That one there could be damaged too. Let's see what that is. Yeah, the fresh eyes makes a huge difference. Okay, that's this one here. That's SMC clock. Yeah. Was that? You're at 22. I'd say it's unlikely to be problematic. Not that that's a guarantee for anything. Yeah, so basically the spudger just sort of like came up and crashed through here. At least we know the area that they did the dodgy on. I don't even know what they must have been trying to do. Unless it was something to trying to get the CPU off. Dragon, well, I wish you the best of luck. I may change this screen flex. I might just tell the person, look, you know, I really want to buy a replacement flex so that we can put it out of our mind. Because if that's got it's already got a kink in it that I don't like. So it could be the start of like the flex gate. I hate how everything gets gate put on the end of it. I know it's all meant to be regarding the Nixon situation, but it's getting a little bit worn out now. Got to come up with something new. Okay, just going to guess mode again. Anel, did you find have they found the person who ran you down? Have they charged him with an incomplete task? Poorly executed execution? Still, that's actually going to be a bit of a brutal psychological thing to know that someone pretty much almost killed you. What? You're talking about the one that I was looking at that might have been slightly dodgy? That was R5112. I guess the problem we had with looking at the CPU was that it just wasn't fluxy enough and there weren't enough burn marks around it. There's still the issue with the Thunderbolt circuit area where we've got that what looks like flare out. No, I don't know what's causing that or what was caused that. It's always such a pain when you don't have the history. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just the keyboard obviously is working. Clock's going to be out to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. Should be. Red flash on the logo. I keep missing it. Where are we? Oh, crikey, it's past midnight. I need to just go to bed. Alright, well, look, we solved the main issue. There could still obviously be something else going on here, but we broke through the main barrier that was really causing us the depression. So it is past midnight. I do need to get some sleep. Unfortunately, I'm not the late night worker anymore that I used to be. But yeah, I think we're all pretty happy that we at least found that resistor fault. So thank you everyone for sticking around for that one. That was it was only an hour long. Oh no, it's been an hour since we restarted it from the synchronization issue. Anyway, you all take care. Don't let the dingoes get you in your sleep, and I'll catch you next time.